Okay, so interest rates are fairly low right now, but what if you locked into your mortgage a few years ago when interest rates were higher? Is it worth it to break your existing mortgage in hopes of getting a lower interest rate? Well, we've got Frank Napolitano here from Mortgage Brokers Ottawa to talk about this. First off, good morning to you.
Good morning,
Good
Rosie.
morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so first off, where are interest rates right now?
Are they good? I think they're good. If you look at over, the last 20, 30 years, we're pretty good. I mean, you can get a 5-year, if your high ratio or if your loan to value is 65% or less, 3.79% for a 5-year. Not horrible.
No.
Not as good as 5 years ago when you were getting 1.5% or 1.89, but those were certainly, that's a one-off. I mean, that's a lifetime, once in a lifetime. But, I think 3.79 is reasonable. I think what people struggle with is the fact the cost of everything else is so expensive. So
there you go. And of course, you see those numbers. There is a difference here, 1.8 or something. That's your mortgage rate, your interest rate, and now you're staring down maybe 4% or more. Everything is more expensive, but you do have this mortgage that now some people have a mortgage rate where that it's about 5%, 6% because they locked in a few years ago. But they're still in the middle of that. They're not done with that mortgage yet. Is it worth it to say, call up the bank and go, you know what? We're seeing mortgage rates, interest rates now a little bit lower than what I'm paying right now. You got to do the math, I guess, but is it worth it to go in there and possibly break your mortgage and pay a fine, a penalty, to get a lower rate? It
could be worth it, but again, some banks, so if you look at the major banks, they use posted rates. So they've got this posted rate, then they give you this discount. So if you took in 2023, let's say, I mean, the average 5-year mortgage was 5.5% in 2023 after a discount. But the posted rate was 7.5%, so you were getting a 2% discount. So the question is, so now they use that against you. So I think it's worthwhile. The bank will never call you and say, by the way, maybe there's an opportunity for you to get a better rate. They won't call you because you're sitting at 5.5%. You have to start the phone call. You're the one who has to initiate it. But I think it's worth a phone call just to find out what that penalty is. They'll probably try to talk you out of it, but I think there's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. Call a mortgage broker and say, listen, I've got a mortgage at this bank. Like, we've actually got a calculator. At our company, we have a calculator. We can calculate what the penalty is going to look like based on when you took out your mortgage. And then from there, we can determine whether it's worthwhile, whether the savings is going to be there. For a lot of people, the savings is there because it's not only paying the penalty, but in a lot of cases, they may have some other debt, higher interest rate debt that you can amalgamate together. And all of a sudden, you look at the savings on the whole thing and it makes sense. But for some cases, it's not going to be worth it because the way the banks calculate the penalty may not be worth it.
Okay, so let's say it does make sense. It is worth it to go back in there, renegotiate because you're paying 6% and you can get it for under 4%. Can you shop around at different banks or are you beholden to the bank in which you have that mortgage rate?
Well, you can shop around. I think most banks will try and keep you by saying, we'll give you a 10% discount on the penalty if you stay
so
with
maybe
us,
you should say that though, right?
You should.
Maybe,
But you don't start with that. You wait for them to give you what the penalty is, and then you calculate whether it's worthwhile or not, and help them calculate. And if they don't, then again, go get a second opinion somewhere else. And then from there, be able to say, okay, like if I keep it with you, can I get a discount on the penalty? Because otherwise, then I'm going to shop around. If I can get a better rate somewhere else, why wouldn't I go somewhere else? Why would I reward you with that penalty and then pay a higher rate when I can go somewhere else and get a lower rate?
Okay, Frank, I think that a lot of people watching who have mortgages kind of see the banks as these big behemoth institutions, and it's like, maybe I shouldn't really bother them. I don't know. I feel like I'm bothering them. What do you say to that?
I say that the loyalty is the wrong direction. I think many customers, and I worked at a bank for 22 years, I found that the customers were loyal to the bank, and I think it needs to be the other way around. I think the banks need to be loyal to you, and remember that you're just a number. The banks all recorded record profits last week, so they're not hurting in any means whatsoever. They need to do more for Canadians, in my opinion. They need to do so much more. They need to help Canadians more because it's tough out there. And we're seeing a lot of Canadians with credit card debts that are reaching peak limits. We're seeing Canadians struggle, and they're not doing anything wrong. They're just working. They're doing everything that you're supposed to do, and yet they're struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And here are the banks recording record profits. So
Yeah.
you don't have to be loyal to them. They're very profitable. You need to look after yourself.
Yeah, and if it's affecting your quality of life and you think you can save a little bit of money and relieve some of that stress, you really should ask those
100%,
questions, right? Go in there.
100%, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Frank
you're welcome. Always welcome.
Napolitano from Mortgage Brokers Ottawa. It's always great to get that information from you. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much.